Kyle Larson dominates another one here at Kansas this weekend.
Following is a production of
the garage area.
Well, welcome into the garage area. It's just me this week. Adam decided he played softball too late, so here I am trying to get in and recording. So bear with me as we go through some of these storylines this week. Just coming off a Kansas weekend. Carson Hocevar wins a truck race in somewhat of a silly fashion with his number one finger out the window crossing the start-finish line. Don't know what all that was about. And Kyle Larson dominates the cup race. So let's get into it. So we'll get in here, talk about some of our picks. Adam picked Larson, the low-hanging fruit. So Larson scored max points first weekend since the new Xfinity fastest lap has come in, that somebody has won both stages, the fastest lap and the race. So Larson maxed out at his 61 points. Ryan Blaney, I had picked. He finished third. I think he had third in both stages. Adam, I don't remember how many points Blaney had. It was 12 less than what Adam had. So in Adam and I standings, I'm up 90 points on him. So he's still got a ways to go to catch me, but it's a long season ahead. So obviously Larson was fast all day. There was some long run speed issues, but Ryan Blaney, he was fast on the long run, but just the way the runs played out in this race, he could never catch him until, if he had a couple more laps there at the end of the race, I think he may have got him, but not enough to gain any points on Adam in our standings. So let's talk about the rating of the race. I thought it was a great race. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I don't know if it's just because of what the lackluster has been the past few weeks. I haven't seen as much passing. Adam gave it a 5. He said he thought it was too hard to pass. Not that Larson dominated the race or anything, but that I thought for sure this is probably the most passing, best track I've seen in weeks. So maybe that's why I think highly of it. I think the TV didn't show as much passing as there really was. Obviously for me as a Chase Elliott fan, I watched him on the scoring monitor. There was a couple times where I saw him passing cars, and the TV just showed the leader of the whole race. So I think a lot of that has to do with the TV. That's kind of another subject. Obviously, Fox's last weekend is this weekend with the All-Star race, and so we're coming to Amazon, which is kind of new. That's another topic in itself, and everyone having to have an Amazon subscription to watch then. So that's another thing we could probably get into later, talk about. But right now, as far as racing goes, I could see Denny Hamlin. He had a fast car. A couple times with his transmission issues, bad pit stops, he would drive himself back up into the top 10, no problem. Who else? Ryan Blaney. He had that long run, and he was outside the top 10 there at the final run and drove up the third. I got the ums going on here. I can't. Oh, Josh Berry was the other one. Another Penske car that was strong. Well, he's Wood Brothers, but Penske equipment. He drove up in the end there in the top 5. I'm not exactly sure where he finished here. That's the trucks. He finished 6, just outside the top 5. So I thought there was plenty of cars that could pass, especially on long runs. Guys would wear out their tires and stuff. Larson, especially, he would wear out his tires at the end. He was just barely hanging on the last couple laps. Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney were catching him. If there had been another lap, it'd have been interesting. So I thought it was a great race, to be honest. So I don't know. I see all the hate online. I don't get it. I thought it was a good race, managing your tires and stuff. Speaking of managing your tires, William Byron and Brad Keselowski both blew tires. These teams start them on low air pressures, and they go out too hard, then it ruins the tires, which that's a product of the car too. So obviously this car itself is terrible. I mean, as far as I expect for this race, I thought it was a great race for what this car can provide. So speaking back on Brad Keselowski's, he finally had a fast day, but it just come up short. He was catching Chase Elliott. He was, I thought for sure he was going to get to him. I was kind of worried, and I was hoping Chase Elliott was just saving his stuff. He finally had a fast weekend, so we can go to Chase Elliott's issues. He started ninth, probably one of his best starting positions in a while, and he drove up to the front, finished second or third first stage, finished second or in the second stage. He almost got Larson there at the end. Larson started falling off, and Chase Elliott beat him off pit road, which was great. He led 29 laps there at that stint, and Brad brought out the caution, blew on his tire, and Chase Elliott had a bad pit stop. The crewman dropped the lug nut, and they had to wait and jack the car back up and restarted like 12th or something like that, and just a multiple rash of restarts. He ended up falling back to the back of the field, and he used up his stuff at the end of the race. So last week it was calling for Allen's head, and this week now they're all calling for the crew's job. So it's interesting to see how the rest of the year goes on. They've showed some speed this weekend, so hopefully that's a sign for better things to come. We'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. I don't know what most to say about this race other than that. Lap, it was less than 10 laps. AJ Allmendinger blows his engine, and it burst his bubble too, because he went on a pretty good rant inside his car. If you haven't seen it or heard it, you can look it up on Twitter. And not just the initial things he said over the radio. There's like a 2-minute clip or whatever of him saying a lot of explicatives about RCR engines. So that'll be interesting to see how that collaboration goes with Colleague and RCR, and what they'll have to say to each other throughout the week. Evidently that's the second engine that's blown for AJ Allmendinger, and evidently Colleague had a couple issues with the ECR engines in the Xfinity series too. So it's interesting that they're getting the bad engine. RCR has been just fine, but I don't think RCR intended for these engines to go bad. Austin Dillon was on DBC talking about it, and it was he said Richard was kind of upset that the engine blew too. Not at Allmendinger's reaction, but that the engine blew up, because that's a bad look on his company and stuff and whatnot. But it's just kind of a little funny rant that Allmendinger kind of lost his mind there for a few minutes, and it's always kind of fun to go back and look at people losing their minds. So if you haven't seen that, you can go back, take a look at that. I just searched up Allmendinger on Twitter, and it'll pop up one of the first few videos on there. So another rant was Kyle Busch. He got Chastain from 4 cars away. That's how I saw it. Chastain was up along the wall. They were 4 wide. I know Chastain and Josh Berry were side by side. I don't remember the car in between Berry and Kyle there, but it looked like Chastain decided to bump his car down into Berry because he was upset, and then that caused a domino effect and took out Kyle Busch, who was having a somewhat decent run. He got stuck kind of there in the back through pit stops and whatnot, and his bad luck continues. And he had a pretty good rant about the car being trash and how everyone drives and can't drive and this and that. So a couple of anger issues this race. That kind of adds to the element of making a good race. If you have drivers upset and mad at each other, it just kind of adds to the intrigue of the racing. Going back to Denny Hamlin had clutch issues, kind of messed up some of his pit stops. He had a really fast car too, so which is a bummer for him. I know a lot of Denny haters out there are probably happy for him, and I don't understand their philosophy of getting off pit road and just jamming it into gear. You had to expect that coming and blow out the transmission. They talked about putting it in second gear and using the starter, and I think that would have been better. Put it in second gear, click the starter, and have the crew help push them off. I think that would have been a far better choice. And what little bit of racing I've done, I've started the car in gear before. with some issues and whatnot. So, uh, I think that would have been a better option, not jamming gears together. Um, but yeah, you just saw on pit road the car go stop, and you just knew it was done at that point. So, um, yeah, I don't have much more to say about this race. Thought it was a great race. There are times you could see cars air blocking still and hard to pass, but I think overall this is the best race we've had in weeks. So, um, that's all I got for the race. I don't really have too much news to talk about. And go back to the truck series and talk about that a little bit. The Carson Hocevar, if I can talk right, um, he held on. Lane Riggs had a fast truck there at the end. Of course, he got disqualified after the race, so maybe that had something to do with it. I doubt it, but he still didn't pass the rules and got DQ'd. But Carson said he was just having fun. He wasn't really angry or nothing, but it kind of looks childish when you're winning the race, flipping off the guy behind you just beat. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think NASCAR will do anything about it, but sure, looks like he probably still has a lot of maturing to do. He's a fast driver in the Cup Series. He has fast cars. He drives that car, I think, better than what the car is normally capable of handling. In an underperforming car, he outperforms it, is what I believe. Although the Spire as a whole has been quicker lately, so it'll be interesting to see how his career goes. I'm certain. I'm certain he'll be winning some races here before too long. So coming up, we got the All-Star race. It'll be Fox's last weekend for the Cup Series. A lot of people are happy about that. Looking when you watch the CW's coverage versus Fox coverage, you can definitely see some lacking on the Fox end. So it'll be interesting to see how Junior, Letarte, and I don't remember who all else is going to be on the Amazon side. So it'll be interesting to see that. I don't really like the fact that you have to have subscriptions to 100 different things to watch the races. I got my YouTube TV subscription. Last year I could watch every race. NBC, USA, Fox, FS1, even the CW. When they switched to the CW, it was all on one platform. Now you got to go to. Now, even if you wanted to watch qualifying stuff, you have to have the Amazon subscription. I got the YouTube subscription to watch the rest, but you got Amazon. I like the CW. I like how they do the Truck Series and Xfinity Series. It's on the same channel all year. FS1 for trucks, CW for Xfinity, and the Cup moves around and stuff. Obviously, you're gonna have a couple networks of the Cup Series. Each network wants their slice of the pie, and but now if you want to watch in-car cameras, you got to buy the HBO subscription and watch qualifying and practice. You got to have the Amazon subscription, and to watch the rest, you got to have your cable subscription of some kind. You can't even watch anything on live TV for the Cup Series other than a select half races. So if you want to watch everything, you got to have like 3 different subscriptions, and I hate how that is. Although I know their argument is that NFL does the same thing with their things, but that's kind of, I don't like that either. I don't pay for. I'm more of a NASCAR fan and an NFL fan. If I can just watch my team each week, I'm happy with that. So, but when it comes to NASCAR, I'm enough of a fan that I want to watch everything. But I'll get Amazon for these next 5 races and probably cancel after that, and they'll get their money out of me for a month and a week, and however it works out. So. That was their plan. I imagine a lot of other people have Amazon primes and whatnot, but I don't use that enough to justify the cost of it other than for these next 5 or 6 weeks. So there's my little rant on the TV side of things. I just hope the product is better than Fox. I know a lot of people talk about the commentators and stuff like that, and I don't really see these issues until people post clips on Twitter and whatnot. I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of not a very good call. Or like the Keselowski incident, it took them like 5 business days to notice that he was wrecking into the wall. So that was kind of a bad look. And that one I noticed on TV. I'm like, they're showing it and nobody's saying anything. That was and then when they finally called it, they all looked it was almost like they acted surprised, like they saw it but couldn't say nothing. Then they were like, "Oh no, it happened." They're like they were doing a fake reaction. That was kind of interesting to see. Uh, but when I saw some overlay of the Cup race versus it was the it was a 2 lap final, 2 laps at Talladega. There was like an overlap of the two calls in the two races. Show it was mostly to show the difference between the two cars, and but when you listen to both of them, you can the CW is a far better call than the Fox one. So it'll be nice to hear some freshing call refresh. It'll be refreshing to hear some new callers calling this race. But that's all I got for this week. It's kind of a short one. Adam kind of leads the way for me, so he knows better how to ask questions and get the brain rolling and more stuff going on. But that's all I got for you this week. I guess we'll see. Adam wants to do a little quick show Thursday or Friday, see if we can get one out then before the All-Star race. Kind of I don't know if a mid-season update, but well, we'll see what happens with that, and then we'll see you after North Wilkesboro.